Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daryl and Boo Show for Monday, September 8th. It's not Monday, so a long weekend. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, September 8th. So there you go. How was the long weekend, Boo?
Yeah, it was good. I've been talking about mountain bikes for the last few weeks.
There. I'm not sure, Boo, if that's an issue on my end or your end.
Hello. Testing.
Slight pause for technical difficulties.
I can hear me. Hello. You know what? Let's bring in our third party here for an unbiased test. Can you hear me, Chef?
I can hear both of you. Crystal clear, guys.
Uh-oh.
Daryl, can you hear me? I would sign that, but unfortunately,
I certainly can't hear anything. Let me just check my...
Like we were saying before the show, this is just as professional of an operation as always.
Hey, it's live TV, right? This is what we get. So,
yeah.
Well, TV, is it live or is it Memorex, I guess is the question.
And that's a good reference, actually. So funny story. I was just mentioning to somebody else in that, I've been recording YouTube videos on my personal YouTube just for fun. And it's an awesome way to actually create home movies for your family. And so I was mentioning, my wife was cleaning out our crawl space and dug out some home videos that she's in possession of. I don't know why her dad gave them to us to hold on to. So they're all VHS, and so now we have this task of wanting to turn them digital so that we have them, and so they're not all lost if there's a flood or something like that. But at the same time, not only are they VHS tapes, but they're also in PAL as opposed to NTSC.
Because they're British, right? Yes.
Yeah. And so now I've got to figure out, how am I going to get these PAL VHS tapes converted? I'm sure there's somebody that I think, probably 10 years ago, you would see a lot more of those services being offered. But even that service itself, it seems like that service has died off because people have already figured out how to, or they've already gone through and done all that stuff. And we've kind of lagged behind here and have this pile of VHS tapes that we have to convert over.
I have boxes in the corner of my office that if any of my family is listening here or watches this, I'll be ashamed, but they had given me when my mom passed away, probably four or 5 years ago now, probably, that I was like, I'm gonna, I'll transfer those to digital. Like I have, I don't know, there's thousands of pictures that I said I would do. And of course, it's just on the to-do list. I need a sticky note thing on the wall to just, here's the to-do list, and maybe as I'll feel good as I take them off the list and get them scanned. And I even went so far as to buy a slide, because my dad had slides, and I mean had lots and lots of slides. And I have a slide converter picture thing where you slide the slide and then take a picture of it. And I started, but I didn't start. I'm not a big start. Can you hear us now, dear?
Yes, I don't know what that was. Checked everything out before we came on air, and it all fell apart as soon as we went live. So
just on that note, Chef, so they're just 4x6 photos that you have,
Yeah. And I have an app on my phone that I can lay them down and scan them, and I literally have all the tools. I just don't do it.
So here's if you want to spend a little bit of money to speed up that process, I have something called a ScanSnap, made by actually I think that's the brand is ScanSnap. I think they might be made by Fujitsu or something like that. Yeah. There's I'll put in an affiliate link, so I'll make 2 cents off of this from the one person that I'll click and go buy something else off of Amazon. But So what it is it's a document scanner, but you can set it up with presets. So I have it set up so that this is really handy for expenses. So I can set it up so that there's a default profile that says anything I put in here and hit scan, it'll just rifle through it and it'll immediately put it into the exact folder that I specify, which is a Dropbox folder or whatever folder. So then I can come home, grab my expenses. Not a lot of them happening right now, but before, just get my receipts, throw them in, rifle them in, and then I just press a button. They're all scanned, and they're all immediately in an expenses folder. And then later on, I can go through and sort them and then throw them into whatever. But you could do the same thing for photos. You could just have like a photo thing, rifle through all the photos on there, and it'll just churn it out because it's just press a button, or just put in like 10 sheets at a time and then just let them roll through, and then they'll just appear in a folder from there. And you can set up different.
Is it a straight feeder so it doesn't curl? That's the problem with my HP printer, because it's got a document feeder. I don't want to curl the pictures, so you have to lay them down and then close it. And half the time, one gets turned, and so
you know what?
Right.
Test it out with one of those photos that like everybody's got their eyes closed, and then sacrifice that one, and then go for otherwise. All right, so Daryl's back. I was starting off by mentioning that last few weeks I've been talking about mountain bikes for a while. Finally got my mountain bike and went on the trail here called Thornhill, and we got all padded up and everything. So we've got knee pads, elbow pads, helmets, obviously, and went down or went up twice, like on the Saturday and the Sunday morning, and nobody broke any bones. So far, knock on wood, we are all safe. So that was most of our weekend. How about yourself, Daryl?
Yeah, it was nice, quiet weekend. Obviously beautiful and sunny here in Vancouver for the most part. So we just kind of took it easy, enjoyed the sunshine yesterday. Spent most of the day down in North Vancouver, down in the Key, which for the people who are Vancouverites or from North Vancouver know, that whole area has kind of transformed over the last 2 or 3 years. It was very much an industrial site 10 years ago. There's a port there, but the city has invested, who knows, an immense amount of money in just transforming it. So new restaurants and little shops, and got a skating rink in the winter just in the middle of it, and you can do roller skating in the winter. In the summertime. So if you haven't checked that out, if you're from the greater Vancouver area and haven't gone down to Lonsdale Key in the last little while, it's definitely worth spending some time. And so, yeah, it was a nice weekend, very relaxing.
They always have that. Is it like a reggae fest or a Caribbean festival every summer? I've always been meaning to go to that too.
Yeah, I think obviously they canceled it this year, but I think they call it Carib Fest or something like that out in North Van, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. Chef, you would know the one in Toronto is absolutely massive, the Caribbean Fest there, but this is a much scaled down version of it, but it's growing every year. Lots of great live music and Caribbean food and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I think Caravana at one point was the biggest festival outside of the islands in Toronto in the, let's say, the mid 90s, late 90s. It died away for a while, but it's back now. Obviously, again, yeah, you're right. This year, obviously not. But I think usually the August long weekend, I think, is what it is now. And it's, there was a couple 100,000 people that would come in for that parade. The Caravana parade would shut the city down on, in the 90s for sure.
Wow.
It was quite the event. You couldn't get a restaurant. You couldn't, and then usually the weekend before we had a Beaches Jazz Fest was in town, and there was always something going on in the city.
Yeah,
back in the pre-COVID days.
Yeah, I went several years ago. My wife lived for 6 years in Waterloo when she was working for BlackBerry back in the day. So still has lots of friends there. And several years we went back for a visit with one of our friends and did Oktoberfest in Waterloo there. which again, from what I understand, is the second largest Oktoberfest outside of Munich, outside of Germany.
Yeah.
But absolutely crazy. I mean, they hold it in, I don't know, like 3 or 4 different halls. It takes over the whole city, but they have these massive halls. And we went to one of them, and it was just absolutely packed, all sorts of fun and games and people drinking beer. So yeah, it just shows you Toronto is it's one of the biggest cities in the world now, and capable of holding these things that are world class. Multiple of them, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, lots to do.
Yeah. So you guys talk about
we biked around Toronto on the weekend. We went out. I'd never been out to Leslie Spit, so we for Father's Day I got a cover for the back of my truck. So my tailgate. It's a Dan King or Dankin, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but cover. So it's like a sort of Kevlar, Velcro, nylon thing. So you can put your bikes over the back. You put your front tire over the back of the tailgate, and there's a Velcro strap. And then I ratchet strap it into the back of my pickup. And yeah, my wife and I, we threw the bikes in the truck on Saturday morning and went down and did a 15K, whatever it was, bike around the Leslie Spit, which is nice. Got some great views of you're out in the lake, like past the Toronto Island even. So you're looking back onto the city and you get a great view of the of the city, and it's all reclaimed land. Like it's literally when you get to the shore, it's just bricks and light standards, and like it's literally the city. Just that's where they dump their stuff, and they've turned it into this great bike paths, huge paved lanes. It was great. We did that for a couple hours, and then went down to the distillery district and had dinner in the distillery. Like walked around that. It's lots to do. You can find things to do and do it all socially distanced. Walking around, we had masks on in the distillery district, but when you're biking around, you're away from people. And I've really got into biking over the thing. That's been my big thing. I've probably biked several times more in my life this year than I've in my previous life put together. I saw your bike, Boo. And I've actually, now that I saw that on whatever Instagram or Facebook, whatever it was, I'd seen your bike. When I was biking yesterday, I did a nice long bike. No, Sunday, I guess it was raining all day here yesterday, but I did a nice bike on Sunday, and I saw several of the kind that you have. So
nice. You know what's appears to be a lot more popular right now is gravel bikes. So, kind of hybrid between not quite a mountain bike, but not quite a road bike. You can take it out on, little trails, nothing too serious, but at least you're not riding really thin tires at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. If I keep it up, I think next year I'll probably get myself go and get myself a much better bike. This bike's probably 10 years old. I got it for the kids when the kids got a bike. I got it I don't even know if the store exists anymore, but I had it tuned up a couple times and upgraded, and actually wore the tire flat this year, which I've never done before on a bike. Well, I did when I was a kid, because I was, doing hitting skids all over the gravel road that I grew up on. But
oh yeah, my kids have done that. They've had one of them had a tire on for like maybe at the beginning of summer, and then there's like one patch that's like this, and it wore right through to the inner tube itself. Like he popped the tire, and I'm like, okay, maybe it was a nail or something like that. But look at the tire, and it's like the actual tire's missing in like one section on there.
Going down the fibers of the tire inside and everything.
Did you guys talk about Rexy before when I was off the air there?
No, we didn't. This is my launch of Rexy shirt. I don't know if anybody's watched the How Ridiculous YouTube channel, but I'm an avid watcher of it on Saturdays. It's a lot of fun. They're 3 Australian guys who just like to blow crap up and do it on high speed, slow camera. So they have a bunch of GoPros and a professional high speed camera and stuff. They've been doing it for, I think, 11 years now or something. I've probably been watching them for a year or two. But that's my Saturday morning thing now, is to watch their episode every Saturday morning on YouTube. I've actually found YouTube. I watch a lot more online than I have ever done. I don't know if you guys are doing that because of COVID, but just being inside, I don't watch a lot of TV per se, but stream a fair amount, and they're there. That's them.
All right. Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody watches our channel, but aside from that, this is kind of the new way that people consume their media. Yeah,
Boo, I think if we just had a logo like they've got, we'll be just as famous as these guys.
A lot more recognizable.
Yeah.
I was thinking our faces have only gotten us so far at this point.
Yeah. A face like mine, I'm surprised we have any viewers.
Yeah, how's the podcast in relation?
Exactly.
That's the new line: a face for podcasts, not a face for radio.
So Rexy is their mascot, Chef? Is that what?
Yeah, I guess they've had him for a couple of years now, and they've just sort of been putting him on like as they drop. You saw there was a big green thing. So the Brucey, as they call this literally a CNC'd milled 600-pound fist, so like Hulk's fist. So they'll drop that from this, I don't know, whatever it is, 300-meter tower onto things, and then they put Rexy on it, and he goes flying, and you can see he's been damaged quite significantly.
Oh yeah, there you go. Left leg is not doing as well as it was before.
Yeah.
It must be pretty sturdy though for it to have lasted through all of this.
Yeah, not a spoiler, but a couple episodes ago, he had to go to the hospital. It was actually it was actually kind of funny because they were speechless. They were kind of emotional when it finally happened, and had to take him to the hospital. So,
do they have a backup one? Hopefully.
Yeah, they need a stunt.
No, he was on vacation this week, I guess, because he's on rehab. So they had no dinosaur this week.
Oh, no.
To invest in a 3D printer or something like that.
I was going to say that. You may as well. We need a mascot too, actually, on here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
a friend of mine did that a few years ago. He went on vacation and he took a rubber duck, and then he took the rubber duck and did, like, wherever he went with, like, he took a picture with the rubber duck. Mm-hmm. And I've seen other people do it too. I'm sure it's not, maybe it wasn't original at the time, or he was the original, whichever. But it's kind of a thing for people to do, to just sort of have something they take with their on vacation, and they did take a picture with it all the time. And
there was we have a customer out here, Tech Resources, and they had a running joke where one guy had a coffee mug. This was a few years back now. One guy had a coffee mug, personal coffee mug that he'd bring in, and I guess people would steal it from the kitchen, his favorite mug, and then those guys are traveling around to different mine sites around the world, and so people would bring it to a mine site in Chile or something like that, and take a picture of this guy's coffee mug that they stole from the kitchen in some weird place in a mine or something like that. And that was kind of the thing to do.
All right.
Obviously they have their HR policies are a little bit flexible there.
Yeah.
Did we talk any business yet so far? I know you're probably going to have Chef on in a later live stream, but
yeah, we got one coming up tomorrow. I think business-wise, one thing to ask Chef is if you've sold your boat yet.
No, not yet. Well, a few people looking, and maybe put it on maybe get a broker if those don't go through. It's a challenge to get the message out that you want to sell a boat. Once people know that there's a boat, hopefully it'll move quickly.
Yeah, it'll be a sad day for you. I know you've been thinking about it for a while, but yeah,
it'll just mean another boat in the not too distant future, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you going to go a bigger boat or a smaller boat?
We'll see. We're making some decisions on what we want to do on several fronts, so that'll determine what the boat means. Might somewhere between a fishing boat and a 2-bedroom cruiser is probably the only decision I can make now. My wife's going to listen to this and say 2-bedroom cruiser, so throw something at me, or is it?
Yeah. So for anybody who's looking for a boat, who's viewing from the Toronto area, This is it.
Out here.
Oop.
Where is it?
Any issues with this boat going on the ocean, Chef,
There we
or is it really made for more of a lake?
I guess you could. I mean, it's got 2 engines, so you'd have some redundancy there.
Yeah.
That'd be quite the trip. We would, I've seen smaller boats do what they call the loop, where they go down the Mississippi, then through the Gulf, and then up the intercoastals on the East Coast, and work their way up the coast, and then into the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal takes you into through New York and everything. So I've seen smaller boats do that. That would be quite the trip, I think. I'd love to do that, but I would do that personally. I'd want to do that on a little bit larger boat where there's a little bit more room.
Yeah, we haven't really caught up much over the summer, Chef, but I've mentioned on these shows before, a good friend of mine who
Yep.
Purchased a boat. So we've had a lot of fun weekends out there on the ocean this summer. You just don't realize how much fun it really is until you get out there and do it for a couple of days. So I know why you love it so much.
Yeah, and it's a means of getting away. And again, I think with social distancing, people have been trying to do this year. Boats work well, right? Because you can sort of get away and do something that's nice. Go for a swim, go have a nice meal on your boat, and you're doing things vacation-y at least, and but you're doing it without having to be on top of people or sit in a tube and fly through the air for 7 or 8 hours to be cooped up with other people.
Yeah. So Chef and I have watched the video. One of our favorite creators, Peter McKinnon, on YouTube there did a really cool trip that you'd done as well, right, Chef? That same trip.
Yeah. Not as far up as they went, right? But but we did the river and everything that they went through, and then we just sort of came out of the top of the river and into the bay. But they traveled through the bay, and that bay is huge. I mean, that's a 2-day trip just to get through the bay. So
that Georgian Bay is what it is. So that's the largest. He wasn't quite clear on the video. I think that's the largest freshwater body of water in the world or in North America.
So there's more fresh water in the Great Lakes than anywhere else on the planet put together. There are a couple lakes that are more surface area than a couple of the lakes, but not all of them put together. So when you got Georgian Bay, which is part of Huron, and then you've got Ontario, Erie, Michigan, and Superior. Superior by itself is the biggest chunk of fresh water there is on the planet. It's basically an inland sea. I mean, you got ocean liners or like go across it that are wow. It's a big lake.
Yeah,
well, that Georgian Bay is one of them. I imagine there's those other areas like that, but I've been to Georgian Bay a few times and out on a boat in Georgian Bay too. It's as beautiful as BC coastline is. That's pretty special. That place, it's absolutely gorgeous there.
Yeah, and it's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours out of the city, right? So a lot of people have vacation spots. My wife grew up on Georgian Bay. They had a cottage there, so she spent most of her summers, until she was 12 or 14. That they would go up there as soon as school ended, and they'd spend the whole summer there, and that's what a lot of people did. It's nice up there. We've gone up and visited around there, and I know you went to the Muskokas a couple of years ago. That's really nice too, and those are connected by rivers, but not more streams. Like you wouldn't like my boat could never get onto those rivers or those lakes directly. I'd need to have my boat lifted into those things, but they are all sort of interconnected in that same area.
He showed those locks as well. Those are pretty cool. Like parking your boat in there, and then they put up the wall or something, and they fill it with water, and your boat rises up, and you can go into the next area of water.
It's an experience the first time you do a lock. It's a lot of fun. And it's a good test to your marriage. There is a little bit of yelling when families get in their first couple locks,
really?
Because you're worried your boat's going to scrape across the side. But basically, it's these huge doors. And there are like the locks were built in the late 1800s, or 1900s. So there's huge wood doors. When I mean huge, I mean like castle size. Like there's one door that's, I think it's 120 feet tall or something like that.
Wow.
So they're huge doors. They open up. You drive your boat in. They close the doors. They either fill or let the water out, whichever way, and then they open the doors on the other side, and you go out. And then boats, as you go out, there's boats coming in, and they fill and do it again. There's one that's a train. It looks like the gantry from the space shuttle. It's called the Big Chute, and it's basically a train track that goes up over the Canadian Shield, because they decided back then in the 20s or 30s they couldn't blast, so there's a train track. So you drive your boat up onto it. There's a huge gantry with straps. So you, depending on the size of your boat, you're either in 2 straps or 3 straps or whatever. So they could take a 65-foot boat, I think, into their one 65-foot boat, I think is the limit. And maybe they've got 2 or 3 boats or 5 boats or whatever, and then the whole unit goes up on train tracks. All the boats are completely out of the water. They're just hanging on these straps, and then it goes down 200 feet, and then puts back in the water, and you drive away. And so it's quite the experience. And then there's also a lift lock. So there's 2 lift locks. There's the Peterborough one, and the well, my friends are going to watch this and yell at me. I can't think of the name now. There's one other one that I've done. I haven't done the Peterborough one, but basically they are like a pool. So you drive into the pool, and there's a pool here, and there's a pool here, and they're on arms, and all the boats get lifted up like this, and you drop, and then you drive off. And this one has been down, so it's literally full of water and boats. So you go up, and it's amazing to watch. Like it launches, like you're like, woo! And when you're up at the top, you can see for miles. I mean, and miles and miles and miles. It's very, very cool. And the one in Peterborough is the largest lift lock. I think it's the largest in the world, but there is one in Scotland that's really, really cool. It's actually sort of twists and turns and everything, and I think it might be bigger now. So.
Wow. And these are over 100 years old. You said that's
anybody. So, sorry, Daryl, what you said?
I was saying that's amazing. These are over 100 years old. You said, and I'm assuming back in the day these weren't for pleasure crafts, moving around the lakes. These are more for getting goods from one place to the other. But incredible, they were built back then and still serving a purpose today.
Yeah.
So, Chef, we'll have you on tomorrow. Just had to switch that around to 11:30, so thanks for accommodating that. Everybody got to notice that B-Sides Vancouver is officially kind of postponed, going to be a virtual event. So we're going to make sure everybody gets their fill of Chef, since you won't be able to make it out here, and even the B-Sides next year's. In spring of next year will be a virtual event as well. So we'll just make sure that we're getting everybody some FaceTime with Peter over YouTube.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. This was good catching up, guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks, folks. We will we'll see you tomorrow. Newsletter will come out later today. And for everybody who is going to receive a monthly newsletter, I'll be doing something for September in the next couple of days as well. So everybody will get that one. All right. See you later, folks.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chef. Thanks. Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks for checking this out today. If you're watching via YouTube right now, go ahead and click subscribe down below. Also, click the bell for notifications. That way you will find out when we are dropping a new video or when we're going live. Also, there's darylandboo.com. If you head over to that, leave your name and email address, we will drop a weekly technical newsletter in your inbox every Monday. Also, this is available via podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Head over to one of those, hit subscribe, and you'll be able to listen to us in the car on your commute or during a walk or a run. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time.